Okay, so welcome to our Being a Dance Student webinar. My name is Marcus and I work for the student recruitment team at Chichester University. And today I'm joined by Hannah and Jennifer, who are both dance students. So straight into it, when we talk about research in university, Hannah, what steps did you take before joining university?
So I looked at lots of different things. I tried to look at university websites and kind of see what they had to offer. I went onto the What Uni app, which is quite a good one, because if you type in your course, it kind of ranks and looks at all the different types of courses all around the UK and gives like module descriptions and stuff. And going to open days as well and workshops and auditions and just trying to do as much as I could, basically.
Cool. And Jennifer, was that much different to you?
Yeah, I mainly looked through UCAS on the course descriptions. Just heard about that app. It sounds really cool. But yeah, I was very much, because of a physical course, going to workshops and open days.
Cool. And Jennifer, I'll stay with you on this one. How did you feel about going to university?
It was the next big step, if you see what I mean. Like, because of moving out, it was very much a nerve-wracking thing.
Yeah. And Hannah, was that the same for you?
Yeah, I feel like I was quite ready to go, but I felt quite kind of excited and yeah, just interested to see what it would all be like, really.
Cool. Hannah, what would your top tip be when deciding on a university?
I would say do as much as possible. Like anything that's offered by any uni that you're interested in, just go to it, because there's lots of different situations where I was really liked uni by its description, but then I went to the open day and I wasn't really feeling it. So I'd say as much as is offered, just go for it, because it will really help you when coming to make your decision.
Cool. And Jennifer, how about you?
100% agree. Do everything you can to see the uni, it's not just by its description. I'd also say compare and contrast the courses. Make sure this is the right step for you in what you want to do. You don't want to be described by the course. You don't want to be surprised by the course.
Yeah, definitely. So, as part of my team at university, we do have some top tips for students that are looking about universities and deciding on which one they should go to. So, one of these top tips is to visit the university as much as possible. So, universities throughout the year will run open days, and also will run campus tours. As well as this, there's things like taster sessions or applicant days that you can go to. These are really good opportunities for students to go and get sort of a sense of what university will be like. You can also meet the lecturers and meet current students as well, which is really good opportunities for you. Another big tip is to test run that journey from university to home, particularly if you're a student who might be wanting to go home at things like Reading Week or Christmas, or even at weekends. You're going to want to make sure that that journey from home to university is feasible for you to do. And as well as this, you're going to want to visit the local area before you start the university. Because at the end of the day, if you're doing a full undergrad degree, that's 3 years of your life. So if you're going to be living in the area for 3 years, you want to know what is in that area, know if there's just enough things for you to do to keep you occupied whilst you're doing your studies. And then probably the biggest tip we have is to ask questions. So when you go to these campus tours or open days, get as much information as you can. And the best way of doing that is to ask questions, whether it be to lecturers or the students or ambassadors. It's the most important thing. So thinking about getting started at university, Jennifer, what was your first week at university like?
I moved in just before our induction week, so it was very jam-packed because of the dorms. You move in like the weekend before. But the way the course handled it was really well. The first week of lessons, it was very much introductory. We'd meet our groups, what the lessons would be like. But we also met some second years to talk about the course. I met Hannah in that induction week.
Nice. And Hannah, was that very similar with your first week at university?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, the course is just so good at kind of putting things on, but not too much like in the same compact. It's just nicely done. And as Jennifer said, you get to kind of feel introduced to everybody. It's not just like do this and it's right now it's like just nice and calm and yeah, it's good.
Cool. So Jennifer, as your first year, I'll stick with you for this next question. How did you find settling into student life?
I'd say it is very much, there's a week or so adjustment period. The uni's really supportive about it. We always had contact information if we're struggling and whatsoever. But it really is just you gotta stick through those weeks. And all our induction week ended around midday, so that we'd have the afternoon to explore, go to a town, and join societies. I joined two in that induction week. There's very much a lot for you to do to say take it off your mind, but also help that transition through.
Nice. And then Hannah, what about you? How did you find settling into student life?
Yeah, I found it quite easy. I think, as Jennifer said, because of the course and how well they do it, it gives you an opportunity to go and look at societies, go to Freshers' Fair where they have all the different societies and things. Just look around the uni, look at the town, things in town, like pubs and different things have their own kind of student nights and Freshers' Week things that you can go to. So the whole kind of place is really tailored to everybody arriving and keeping everybody safe and comfortable and just easing everyone in.
Nice, cool. And Hannah, what would a typical week look like now for you?
So typical week would be, because of our course, we're in every day. That kind of can depend on the timings, and obviously if you do a society, they're usually in the evening on a weekday. So they're fairly busy, but they are kind of split between some technique lessons, and it's split into two groups. So some people might start early in the morning and some people will start later in the morning, but if you shouldn't be all early in the morning the whole week, it will kind of alternate. And there's a bit of theory in there as well to kind of break up, so you're not full just dancing 9 till 5 all day. There is a bit of theory that will kind of let you have a little break in there. But yeah, fairly busy, but not too much that you feel like you're stressed. It's enough to do, I'd say.
Nice. And Jennifer, is that much different to your typical week?
No, not much. It's very much split between the theory and technique, I'd say, and it's very societies on the evening as well. So there's quite a bit to do, but it's not overwhelming. I'd say it's a good amount.
Cool. So, Jennifer, what was your biggest concern before starting university?
I was more concerned on the living than I'd say the course, like what my flatmates were like, and because I'm sober, I was very much concerned about like the uni atmosphere.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And Hannah, how about you?
I think I was kind of thinking about like workload and stuff and kind of how that would kind of be, how I'd be able to kind of cope with that. But as we said, in the introductory week, they were able to kind of ease you in, and you've always got help on hand if you need it. So yeah, I feel like that was quite sorted really easy.
And did you find that these concerns were sort of squashed fairly early on into starting university?
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. So, touched a little bit on it already, but Jennifer, how did you feel about moving away from home?
It was a big, I wouldn't say challenge, but it was on my mind quite a bit just because my journey home is a good few hours. But I really do find after a week or so, the first friends you'll make are your flatmates. And then from there, in your societies and your course, you will make quite a few friend groups.
Mm,
So you find friends quite easily. And that in itself is a distraction from moving from home. But it's also quite easy to keep in contact. I know you don't think about, oh, call every day is going to help, but it really does. It really
yeah,
does.
cool. And Hannah, how about you? How did you feel?
Yeah, I'm the same. My journey home is a good 5-6 hours on the train. So, but I felt kind of quite confident. I feel like Jennifer's right. You do end up making quite a few different friendship groups, and that kind of can help you feel a lot less like lonely. Um, and yeah, being in societies and stuff and having similar interests with people, similar interests with people on your course. And I mean, living in the same house as someone, you're bound to see people. So yeah.
Yeah. And in your first year, I know Jennifer, you're in your first year now, but Hannah, you lived in student halls in your first year as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I was on campus in
And
student.
how did you find that sort of living situation?
I thought it was really good. I mean, being on campus is obviously very convenient, especially when you're doing our course, because it means you're not having to get up really, really early to then go and dance. So yeah, it's really good. I was catered as well, so the being able to just go and grab your food and eat, especially when you're kind of busy during the days, is really good. And just being in halls in general, feeling like you're not the only one that's just like in your room. Because I feel like sometimes if you've got like because I know other unis have like flats and stuff, but I feel like that could be quite isolating.
Yeah.
So being in halls was really good, and it felt nice and social, and you always kind of you weren't ever on your own. And even just like I made a lot of my friends from being in a group chat at the beginning of uni with because I was in Springfield and there's 6 different Springfields and we not everybody kind of knew what that meant at the time and we were all kind of chatting between ourselves. But I met people from different buildings just from that. So yeah, you get to know people kind of around your area, not just in your halls.
Nice. And Jennifer, what are your halls like?
I'm kind of the opposite of Hannah. I'm off campus accommodation and I'm self-catered. So I have to get my own food and I have that walk to uni for my course every day. I find it really sociable. Like I'm in the biggest halls and it's very easy if you're ever feeling lonely to just strike up a conversation with someone. Like
Hmm.
it's really hard to feel lonely in like student accommodation, I'd find, and they're really nice. With the catered, of course, you can go to the on-campus restaurant and get food. But that's not to say self-caters are any worse. Our kitchens are really like good for student kitchens, and it's that was one of my concerns coming setting a budget for like my foods, and
Yeah.
it's quite easy to accommodate to. Like I think because everyone's used to seeing the budgets you have for a family, it's like a lot easier to do a budget for just one person. So
Yeah.
it's and your flatmates help with that a lot. I find whenever I'm in the kitchen, that is a sociable space. Just because my halls don't have a social area, it is very much we go in people's dorms with invitation or the kitchen. So you go in the kitchen, you're bound to see someone cooking their food, and you strike up a conversation.
Yeah, definitely. And like you said, with the sort of budgeting aspect, it's something that students get used to very early on. It's something that is a massive concern for students before they start university, but they tend to get over it fairly quickly, and figure out sort of what are the actual essentials that they will need. I know we've touched on it already, so I'll only ask you briefly, but Jennifer, how did you feel about making new friends and meeting new people? Like, did you know anyone coming to Chichester before?
I knew someone in a different course, but I haven't spoken to them much. It was very much moving here, no family in the area, and just starting anew. And because of induction week, I think that was the main thing. Like I just met my flatmates, but induction week was the biggest thing that I found helped me talk to people, because the first few lessons really was just getting to know each other, what we want out of the course, getting to know the tutors. It very much helped because it like broke the ice, I think, and we were just talking about our interests. And then, as Hannah said, you'd find a group in your course of similar interests, and you'd go from there, see who's joining what society and stuff like that.
Nice. And Hannah, how about you? Did you know anyone coming to Chichester, or had you heard about us? Did you already have some friends that were coming?
No, I didn't know anybody either. I was in the exact same position, living far away and was just interested in the course and really liked the way the uni felt, so was just like, well, gonna do it anyway. But yeah, it's just the friendship thing. I feel like there's such a stigma around feeling lonely at uni and feeling like you're not going to make any friends, but actually as soon as you do get here, people are like, oh, that was very easy because I can just go in the kitchen and speak to somebody, or I can just go to my course induction and speak to a group of people. And yeah, I feel like people worry about it so much, but it really isn't anything to worry about, because I've got many groups of different people that have come from just talking. And I feel like because the uni is fairly small as well compared to other places, and the campus is quite small as well, it means that you do just meet people, or you have friends of friends and you do see them fairly often. So I feel like that stigma needs to be taken away because it's not something to worry about.
Yeah, definitely. So onto the sort of more course related content of the webinar. Hannah, what type of assessments do you have in your subject?
So we have technique assessment, so they're kind of practical lessons, and you get marked throughout your time. So you get marked in each lesson and kind of like your interactions and just how you're getting on throughout the lesson. And then we have an exam kind of lesson where we'll perform everything that we've been taught. So that happens. We do other modules like choreography, where again we'll be kind of marked on our process. But the main thing is we'll have a performance and we'll get marked on our performance. And we also have theory subjects as well, and that is mainly picking your own topic of an essay about what you've been taught about, and then you send in your work and then it gets marked. So we have a kind of a range of different assessments.
Nice, cool. And Jennifer, how do you tend to prepare for your assessments?
I've found, because most of them are practical assessments, the biggest thing is just getting to my lessons and actively participating in them. Like if I find I'm struggling to pick up a piece or I've got questions, it's very important to talk to your tutors. It's very much a two-way. If you don't understand something because it's practical, you're going to want to know how, because you've got to perform this at the end of term. It's very much you're working on yourself, and stuff they recommend, like doing stuff outside to like work on your fitness, but that's very much, do you think you need to do that? So that's the physical side. And I've just had my first theory assessment, and I found very much keeping up with the workload. Like they'll set homework for theory, but they won't chase you for it, so you can very well just come to a class without it. However, you will notice at the end you should have done that homework. So it's very much keeping up with that work and choosing your own question. Do something you're interested in, because you'll find that keeping up with the research and writing the essay will be a lot easier if you're actually interested in it.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. And Hannah, how many or how often do you have your assessments?
So the process mark of technique is throughout the whole module, and that's just the tutor just looking at how well you're doing across the module. And then your technique exams are at the end of each semester. So we have some at Christmas, and then we have kind of a January to February block C time, which could either be like a intensive session, or this year we've kind of done some exams in Christmas, some here to kind of stop the stress down a little bit. But usually it's a kind of intensive in January, and then towards like May time you then have another set of technique assessments. In first year you have choreography, so you'll do a choreography performance at Christmas time, and a choreography performance again like May time. And theory, again, you'll hand some stuff in at Christmas, hand some stuff in kind of end of May, or possibly in the middle of that, depending on which type of dance course you're doing. Some people have some extra theory stuff that they hand in kind of in the middle of that. In second year, it kind of depends. It's all the same with technique and stuff, but it kind of depends in terms of what modules you've chosen. Because they have kind of different things. Some of them like a really long process, or like out the whole year. Some of them are presentations and part essays, so that kind of depends on the module she's chosen, but roughly Christmas time, then end of May, possibly something in the middle.
Cool, perfect. So a little bit about the University of Chichester. So we have, well, I think one of you might have mentioned earlier, but we are massive on our sort of support that we have on offer at Chichester. So we academically can offer you the opportunity to learn academic skills. So obviously referencing citations is something that students won't do at school or at college, but when you come to university, it's something that you have to do for all of your sort of written assessments. So having the opportunity to meet with someone who can teach you these academic skills is really useful. We also offer a lot of support for sort of student health and well-being, and even sort of the mental health side of things as well. And as well as that, we are also big on our disability and dyslexia service. So if a student discloses in their application that they have a disability, the university will contact them, and on that contact, they will sort of arrange if there's any extra support that is needed. And even if it is necessary, they can arrange for you to come and visit the university before you start, so that you can just sort of acclimatise yourself to the place and meet the lecturers and that sort of thing as well. So coming up to the end of this webinar, I'll ask you both this, but I'll start with Jennifer. What would you say to someone considering studying a dance course?
I'd very much make sure you're sure you want to do a physical dance course, because this course, your success, it very much is driven by you. With most of it being practical, it is very much the workload you put in. It's a manageable workload, 100%, but you have to want to do it. That's the case for most courses, but very much a dance course, because the university offers so many. Please look through them all and make sure you're interested in the modules and what you want to do, so you don't come here and get surprised. It is very much self-driven by you.
That's great. And Hannah, how about you?
I mean, I'd agree with Jennifer. I'd say the same. But I'd also say, again, like we said previously, make sure that you come visit, you look around local space, you look at the module, you look at workshops, you go to each audition, because again, teaching style is quite important as well. So if you might really, really love to dance, but then you come to an audition and you're like, I don't like this environment. So going to do as much as you can beforehand is really important, because then you'll feel a lot more settled to come here. And yeah, just making sure that it is what you want to do, because agreed, in terms of process marks, if you don't feel confident or you feel like you're not really sure about doing it, then you're going to notice it. So yeah, I feel like being a dance course as well, it's always a positive space, because especially it being physical and having lots of contact with people, you do get to know people very quickly. So as much as it being like a fairly big course with all the different types of dance courses, you do know people. So just drop your worries, look around, and yeah, just make sure it's definitely what you want to do.
Amazing. And then in a few words, Hannah, could you sum up your time so far?
Just amazing. had the best time, felt so comfortable, felt so settled, and definitely made the correct decision for me, I'd say, over these last 2 years.
Perfect. And Jennifer, how about you?
Yeah, I agree with Hannah. Very comfortable. I've made the right choice. I love the course, and it's just the uni atmosphere. I'm really enjoying it.
Amazing. So that is the end of the webinar. So firstly, thank you to you two for agreeing to take part. Thank you to anyone that is watching. And if after watching this you have any questions, feel free to reach out and email us. So that is outreach@chi.ac.uk or studyhere@chi.ac.uk.